Hello everyone, friends. Today I have a dash cam on review that at first glance looks like just another dual camera model for a car. But the longer I spent getting familiar with it, the more interesting things I found in it. This is DDPAI N2 Dual. A dash cam with a front and rear camera, a screen, smartphone connectivity, voice functions, and support for parking mode. But as usual, the most interesting part is not hidden in the nice text on the box, but in the real installation, setup, and normal everyday use. So today we are not just going to look at the package contents and quickly go over the specifications. I will show you how this dash cam is connected, how the app works, what it has in terms of menu and settings, how convenient the screen is to use, what all these smart functions actually give you, and of course we will look at the daytime and nighttime video quality from both the front and rear camera. And at the end, we will figure out whether this model is really worth considering for purchase, or whether there are some details that are better to know in advance. In front of us is the DDPAI N2 Dual model, which means this is the dual-channel version with a front and rear camera. Power input here is rated at 5 volts 2 amps. The dimensions of the main unit are 100.5 by 66.65 by 51.65 mm, and it weighs 94.4 grams. The front camera records video in a resolution of 2560 by 1440 at 30 frames per second, and the rear camera records in a resolution of 1920 by 1080 at 25 frames per second. In terms of optics, it uses lenses with an f2.0 aperture. The viewing angle of the front camera is 125 degrees, and the rear camera is 124 degrees. Video is saved in MP4 format. Inside there is a 3-axis G sensor, as well as a supercapacitor, and that is a good point because this type of solution usually handles temperature changes better than a regular built-in battery. In terms of wireless interfaces, it has Wi-Fi 2.4 GHz and Bluetooth 5.0. For storage, it supports microSD memory cards up to 256 GB. It also has AI night vision functions and a 24/7 parking monitoring mode. There is also a 1.9-inch screen with a resolution of 170 by 320, an IPS panel, and a 16:9 aspect ratio. The temperature ratings also look pretty good. The operating temperature is rated from -20 to +70 degrees Celsius, and the storage temperature from -40 to +85 degrees Celsius. The seller offers several package options, but I would recommend buying the maximum package, because that way you can unlock the full potential of this dash cam. So, the dash cam comes in a fairly large cardboard box with the manufacturer's logos on the sides. In a separate branded bag we have the so-called hardware kit. We take out the manual, which is in Chinese and English. It describes in quite good detail the process of connecting this module to your car's electrical system. Later I will show you how I did this in my own car. You might say, but can't you just plug the dash cam into the cigarette lighter socket? Yes, you can, I would tell you. But then when the ignition is turned off, in many cases power to the cigarette lighter is also cut off, which means the dash cam will not be able to perform one more function, namely parking monitoring. So this hardware kit is needed for hidden connection of the dash cam directly to the vehicle's electrical system. It converts the onboard power of 12 or 24 volts into 5 volts with a maximum current of 2 amps for the dash cam itself and connects to the fuse box. The black wire goes to ground, and the red wire goes to the power line. If you connect it to ACC, in other words to ignition power, the dash cam will switch on together with the ignition. And if you connect the yellow wire to constant power, which you need to find in the fuse box because it is always live, then parking mode becomes available, in which the dash cam goes almost into sleep mode but at the same time is ready to wake up from any shock detected by the G sensor. Through the app you can set how long this operation should continue after the car stops so that the camera does not drain the battery without control. The wire lengths are enough to neatly route them from the fuse box, which is usually on the driver's side, along the pillar and to the center of the roof under the trim. The wire lengths are 4 meters, 1.5 meters, and 2.5 meters. Next, in a separate bag, we have a microSD memory card with a capacity of 64 gigabytes. The card is branded, comes in a small plastic case, looks neat, and it is immediately clear that this is not just some bag with a card inside, but a proper branded accessory. The markings here are U3, V30, and A1. For a dash cam, the most important thing is U3 and V30, meaning the card is designed for fast and stable video recording, so it should handle continuous recording from the dash cam without unnecessary problems. Simply put, for a front 2K camera and a rear Full HD camera, this class is exactly the right fit. A 1 is also present here, but that is more related to working with applications, so for a dash cam this point is not that important. In terms of capacity, 64 GB is a perfectly normal starting option, so you can begin using the device right away. On average, about 4 to 6 hours of video should fit here, and after that the old files will start being overwritten in a loop. And in a separate box we have the dash cam itself together with the rear camera. The box is sealed in plastic, so it is clear that nobody opened the set before me. On the front side there are images of the dash cam itself and the rear camera, and here we also see the DDPAI brand and the N2 Dual model name. On the sides of the box there is information about the manufacturer, and the main advantages of the device are also listed. On the back side you can already see screenshots of the smartphone app and a QR code that takes you to Play Market for installation. Overall, the packaging looks quite neat and informative. Even before unboxing, you can already tell that this is not just an ordinary budget dash cam, but a device that was clearly made with a focus on the app, extra functions, and operation together with the rear camera. We open the box and immediately understand that there was definitely no need to worry about shipping. The manufacturer arranged everything very well and very securely in separate compartments, so nothing moves around inside and nothing gets damaged. Let's start with the manual. It comes in a separate plastic bag. There are also 2 static windshield stickers here. I would not recommend sticking the dash cam directly to the glass. It is much more convenient to first stick on this static film. It holds in place thanks to static, leaves no marks, and then you attach the dash cam itself to it. And if later you need to remove the device, it is enough to carefully lift this sticker with something sharp and calmly remove everything without leaving marks on the glass. There are also 2 spare mounting pads made of 3-meter double-sided tape. The manual itself is made in several languages, and it covers everything from the package contents and dash cam installation to connection and operation with the app. Next, in a separate bag, there is the cigarette lighter power adapter for the dash cam. And it is nice that the manufacturer included a second USB port. That means one port is used for the dash cam power, and the second one remains free, for example for charging your smartphone. Of course, this matters in the case where you are not going to use the hardware kit for hidden installation. The adapter itself can work both in a 12-volt system and in a 24-volt system, which can be useful not only for passenger cars, but also for trucks. For example, on the output side it gives 5 volts and up to 2.4 amps of current. A cable with a length of 3.5 meters is used to power the dash cam itself. On one side there is a regular USB connector and on the other side a USB Type-C connector. In the same compartment there is also a plastic pry tool for routing the cable through the car interior, so that you can carefully lift the trim and hide the wire without much effort. In the neighboring compartment there is the cable for connecting the rear camera. On one side there is a USB Type-C plug, which is connected to the rear camera itself, and on the other side there is a plug that looks like an audio jack, and that one is connected into the main dash cam. The cable is long, about 7 meters, so it should be enough for neat routing through the whole car interior to the rear glass. Now let's move on to the main dash cam. The body here is plastic, matte, with a pleasant texture, so it will not reflect sunlight and distract you while driving. On the front there is the manufacturer's logo and the lens of the main 2K camera. On one of the side panels there is the opening for the built-in speaker, and on the other side there is the slot for a microSD memory card up to 256 GB inclusive. On the top you can see the microphone opening, as well as cooling and ventilation slots. A bit further there are the control buttons for the dash cam itself. They are made almost flush with the body, but at the same time they are easy to feel with your fingers and have a clear tactile response with a light click when pressed. Here there is a confirmation button, left and right or up and down navigation buttons, as well as a back button. At the bottom there is a non-removable mounting leg for attaching the dash cam to the car windshield. It already has 3-meter double-sided tape applied for installation. The leg bends almost to 90 degrees, so you can conveniently set the dash cam at the required angle depending on the slope of the windshield in your car. At the same time, the lens itself still remains at a small distance from the glass and does not press against it, so the design here is really well thought out. Also, if necessary, we can remove our dash cam from the glass simply by pulling it toward ourselves. This is also a useful option, especially in areas with higher crime, so that someone is not tempted by your dash cam and you do not end up without both the dash cam and the windshield. Next to it there is a round connector for the rear camera, and then a USB Type-C port for powering the dash cam. Power for the rear camera is supplied through the main unit, so it does not need separate power. Almost the entire rear side is occupied by the display, and again, do not forget to remove the shipping film from it. The display here is a 2-inch IPS screen with a 16:9 aspect ratio. For such a compact body, having a display is also a plus. It is not very large, but that also has its advantage, because it does not distract and does not block the view through the windshield. And its presence is one more plus, because without taking out your smartphone you can find the needed video fragment or even change settings right on the device. In the second compartment there is the rear view camera. Stylistically, it is made in the same style as the main one, and together this pair looks quite stylish. Even though the second camera is rather small. It consists of two parts, so to speak. The left part is attached to the rear glass, and the second part with the lens can rotate around its axis by 360 degrees. The right part has a slight texture, and on the left part there is the USB Type-C port for connection to the main dash cam. First power on and language selection. At first power on, the dash cam greeted me in English and asked me to choose the language in which the dash cam would communicate with me, as well as display the menu and prompts. Why do I say communicate? Because the dash cam also supports voice commands. At least one thing is definitely present here, and that is voice-triggered photo capture, where the device saves not only the snapshot itself, but also a linked short video clip. There are 16 available languages here. English, Russian, Chinese, Polish, German, French, and others. After that, we set the time and date, but you can also sync it with your smartphone and then they will be set automatically. Then, once power is connected, the dash cam turns on automatically and immediately starts loop recording. After a certain time, the display goes into standby mode, where the current time and date are shown, and the recording icon continues to blink. Controlling the dash cam is quite simple. When the display is active, we see the image from the main camera. In the upper part we see the rec icon showing that recording is in progress, then the date and time, as well as the Wi-Fi connection status and whether the microphone is on or off. But if we want, we can switch the image to the rear camera. To do that, we press the button under this icon, and it switches to the rear camera, then we can switch back again. The microphone is off by default, but we can turn it on with the button under the microphone icon. After that, the dash cam will tell us by voice prompt that the microphone is on.
Audio recording enabled. Audio recording disabled.
And in the future it will also stay on all the time. You can turn it off again either with the same button or in the dash cam settings. Turning it off is also accompanied by a voice prompt. And finally, there is quick access to the dash cam settings. First, the video settings. Here you can choose the length of the video clip that is created during photo capture, 10, 20, 30 seconds, or not create such a clip at all. The resolution and frame rate cannot be changed. The time overlay on the recording can be turned off. In the system settings we go into Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Here we are shown the name of the Wi-Fi access point and the password, as well as the Bluetooth name. Next, we can set the time and also choose the date format. If you made a mistake, the language can also be changed through the menu. You can also turn off Wi-Fi and have it turn on only when the smartphone app is active. In the sound settings, we can disable the startup sound, enable or disable the dash cam microphone, which is off by default, and also set the volume of the dash cam speaker. In the display settings, you can set the time before the device goes into standby mode, 30 or 60 seconds. You can also turn standby mode on or off, where the display will simply be turned off instead of showing the clock screen. To properly set up parking monitoring, the dash cam needs to be connected through the hardware kit. If you simply connect it to power, then only the power saving option is available, which will shut the dash cam down after 15 minutes. But then, when it is connected through the hardware kit, the parking monitoring options become available, including operating mode selection and battery voltage protection. In the intelligent assistant settings, the first item is the G sensor setting for driving on the road and for parking mode. In the ADAS warning menu, we can deactivate this mode, and also adjust the warning about the vehicle in front starting to move and its sensitivity. We can also activate or deactivate the reminder to take a break after 4 hours of driving. After that, you can reset the dash cam settings. In the More Information menu, we can view the QR code for downloading the smartphone app, and also look at information about the model, memory card, system version, and firmware. We can already connect our dash cam, insert a microSD memory card, and use the dash cam. But since our dash cam is a smart one and supports connection to a smartphone, we scan the QR code and go to the App Store or Google Play to install the DDPAI app. During the first connection, we need to add the dash cam to the app. The app will be displayed in the language your smartphone is set to. And the language of the dash cam voice prompts also changes, which is very convenient. We press the Add button and allow all the necessary permissions on the smartphone. Do not forget to turn on Bluetooth, and then our dash cam will be found quickly and automatically. That is exactly what happened for me. It found DDP1AF34F, so we add it. Now we authorize it by pressing the confirmation button on the dash cam. I forgot to turn on Wi-Fi, and the app reminded me that it would be better to enable it. But even if you do not turn it on, you can still manage the dash cam through the Bluetooth connection, which is also a plus. Then a notification popped up saying that it would be better to change the Wi-Fi password that is set by default. I turned on Wi-Fi and the app connected me to the dash cam's Wi-Fi network. Overall, everything in the app is simple and clear. In the upper part we see an image of our dash cam. Below that are its name and status. In my case, it showed that it was linked to the app, that recording was not currently in progress, and that the connection was through Wi-Fi. If Wi-Fi is turned off, the Bluetooth connection icon will be shown instead. Below that there is a live view button, so we can use the smartphone as a display, or we can go back into the recording archive. You can also take a photo, download a video segment, or go to the dash cam's local album. This album is stored in the memory of your smartphone. Overall, everything in this app is quite simple and intuitive. Now let's go into the dash cam settings. Here we can set the dash cam speaker volume, or mute it completely by turning it all the way down. We can also enable or disable voice prompts, including the greeting when power is applied. The ADAS settings are placed in a separate subsection. Let me remind you that ADAS in this dash cam is a driver assistance system that gives warnings while driving. But here it is important to understand that in this case we are not talking about some full car autopilot, but specifically about additional prompts and reminders. For this model, functions such as warning about the vehicle ahead starting to move and a fatigue reminder are listed. In the first menu, we can disable this function completely. It is also recommended to calibrate this system after the first installation in the vehicle, so that it works correctly specifically in your case. If the dash cam is mounted a little higher, lower, or at a different angle, the prompts may not work quite correctly without calibration. Recording is set by default to 2K at 30 frames per second. In my case, I could not change the main recording quality through the app, so apparently the manufacturer fixed this mode as the main one from the start. Recording from the built-in microphone can be enabled or disabled, and the dash cam notifies us about it with a voice prompt. The date and time stamp on the video is enabled by default, but you can disable it if you want. You can also adjust how many seconds of the linked video clip will be saved when taking a snapshot or when an event occurs, if something interesting gets into the frame. By default it is 10 seconds, but 20 and 30-second options are also available. And the logic here is convenient. The dashcam saves not only the actual moment of the event, but also a small fragment before and after it. You can also choose the G sensor sensitivity. And here there are really enough settings. This model has 7 sensitivity levels available: high, above average, average, below average, low, off, and custom mode. And you can set the sensitivity separately for normal driving mode and separately for parking mode. That is the right approach, because on our roads, if you set it too high, the dash cam can trigger on every pothole or good expansion joint in the asphalt. So it is better to tune this setting a little for yourself. But for parking mode, if you are really using it, it already makes sense to set the sensitivity higher, so that even with the slightest contact with the car, a saved photo and linked video clip remain in memory. If you do not use the hardware kit to switch the dash cam into parking mode, and your cigarette lighter socket always remains powered while the dash cam itself does not switch off, then it really makes sense to activate the function that turns the dash cam off after 15 minutes. This is simply a practical point so that you do not drain the car battery if your cigarette lighter socket remains live even after the ignition is turned off. In that case, the dash cam simply will not stay powered all the time without any real need. And of course, it is worth separately mentioning parking mode. It works fully when the dash cam is connected through the intelligent hardware kit. In exactly this setup, after the car is turned off, additional parking monitoring functions become available, including operating mode selection and battery voltage protection. If some event happens, for example an impact, the dash cam can automatically take a snapshot and create a linked video clip. In my case, the dash cam was connected with a regular USB Type-C cable, so I did not fully test this mode, and accordingly all these settings were not available to me in full in the app. Below that are the Wi-Fi settings. Here you can turn Wi-Fi on and off, and also manage the way it works. By default, the dash cam has intelligent power-saving logic, where Wi-Fi does not stay active all the time without need, but wakes up when the app connects. I would recommend immediately setting your own Wi-Fi network name and definitely changing the default password. It is better to make the password strong so that no outsider can connect to the dash cam and download your videos to their smartphone. In the SD card menu we can format the card and also check its status. And this is a useful function, because memory cards in dash cams should generally be formatted from time to time to avoid recording errors and unpleasant surprises at the worst possible moment. The dash cam supports memory cards up to 256 GB, so for those who want a larger archive, the option is there. At the top there is the local album tab. Here we can look at videos, photos, and event files that have already been saved into the smartphone memory. But the files that are still stored directly on the dash cam's memory card are located in the device album section. This is an important point, because many people get confused. The local album is what has already been downloaded to the phone, while device album is what is still inside the dash cam on the memory card. Snapshots and event files can also be set so that they are automatically copied into the smartphone memory when the device is connected. And you can take a photo on the road using the smartphone, the button on the dash cam itself, or a voice command. I would still verify the exact voice command in real use, but the function itself is definitely present here. To connect the dash cam to the vehicle, you will need the fuse layout specifically for your car, a tester, a little time, and my advice. First, you need to find constant positive power, which is power that is present even when the car ignition is off. In my case, it is this point right here. This is exactly where we connect the yellow wire from our hardware kit. Then you need to find the second positive line, which appears only when the ignition is turned on. In my case, it is located right here. And of course, you also need to find ground, which is the negative side. That is the easiest part, because in most cases you can simply take it from the car body by securing the wire under a factory bolt. If we are talking about the Nissan Leaf, then here in the first row, the very top slot, we connect the red wire, because this is where plus 12 volts appears when the ignition is on. And in the middle row, the very bottom slot, this is where the yellow wire should be connected, because plus 12 volts is always present there. And now here is my advice. Buy these fuse tap adapters. I already made a video about them called Car Without Twisted Wires, and I will leave the link in the comments under the video. It is all very simple. We pull out the fuse where we have constant 12 volts or where plus 12 volts appears with the ignition on. We take out this fuse, and instead of it, we install one of these adapters. The fuse itself is placed into the first slot, and here is the trick in the second second slot. A wire already comes out from it, and to this wire we can connect whatever we need: a dash cam, a charger, a radar detector, or lighting. It is very convenient because you do not need to get into the wiring, and everything can easily be returned back very quickly. You remove the adapter, put the fuse back in place, and disconnect the attached device. I will leave the link in the description under the video. After that, we route the wire behind the pillar trim. In my case, I had to carefully unclip it and run the cable inside. Then we route the wire under the roof trim and bring out a small piece of it near the windshield, where the main dash cam will be installed. After that, it is up to you. You can stick the dash cam directly to the glass, like my previous dash cam was attached. But the more correct option is to first stick the static film on the glass, and then mount the dash cam onto it. That way there are fewer traces, and if needed it will be much easier to remove later. In the end, the front dash cam is installed in its place. We set the required tilt angle. By the way, it changes with noticeable resistance, so it will not shift by itself from vibration or while driving, so do not worry about that. As you can see for yourself, the dash cam hides very well behind the rear view mirror, practically does not block the view, and does not distract from the road at all. At the same time, it has a display, and that is also a plus, because with this kind of installation it still remains quite convenient to use. 2/3 of the work is done. Now let's move on to the rear dash cam. And here there is one important nuance. If your rear glass is fixed, meaning it does not lift together with the tailgate, then everything is quite simple. We stick the rear dash cam either directly on the glass or on the plastic trim at the top, if that is more convenient specifically in your car. After that, we route the cable forward under the roof trim to the main dash cam. Yes, the process is a bit labor-intensive, but overall it is quite understandable and not the most difficult. But if the glass lifts together with the tailgate, then things get a bit more interesting. The rear dash cam itself can still be mounted either on the glass or on the plastic. Here everything depends only on the design of your specific car. But then you need to find the rubber or plastic boot through which the factory wiring goes from the tailgate into the cabin. And through that, you will have to route the cable from the rear camera into the cabin. After that, we lead it either under the roof trim or under the door sills, depending on what is more convenient for you, and then bring it forward to the main dash cam. In the end, both dash cams are mounted, connected, and ready to work. We can hit the road and move on to the real tests and content shooting. YouTube compresses video quality a bit, so I will leave a link in the description under the video to the original files from the dash cam's memory card, so that you can download them and look at them yourself without extra compression. Now let's open what we recorded and see how all of this is stored on the memory card. In the DCM folder we have 4 subfolders: video, photo, thumb, and log. In the video folder, if you have 2 dash cams installed, then there will also be 2 folders, one for the front camera and one for the rear camera. We go into the front camera folder. On average, one clip takes about 140 megabytes, and the duration of each clip is 1 minute. In the video properties we can see that the resolution really is 2560 by 1440 pixels. If we go by the file size, then the stream from the front camera comes out to roughly about 18 to 19 megabits per second, which is perfectly normal for recording at this resolution. Audio, if the microphone is enabled, is recorded in mono mode. Now we go into the folder of the second camera. Here the clips are also split into 1-minute pieces, but the size of one file is already about 80 megabytes. And that is logical, because the rear camera records in a resolution of 1920 by 1080. Accordingly, the bitrate here is lower, about 10.5 megabits per second, which is why the files are noticeably smaller than those from the main front camera. Overall, the file structure here is quite clear and convenient. The files are arranged in folders, the clips go in short 1-minute segments, so if necessary you can quickly find the needed moment, download it, or simply open it directly from the memory card. In the photo folder, you can view snapshots, each taking 3 megabytes of space on the memory card, with a resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels. And now let's sum everything up. What is the DDPAI N2 Dual like in real life? Overall, the dash cam turned out to be really interesting. It is compact, neat, does not look bulky on the windshield, hides well behind the rear view mirror, and at the same time offers not only ordinary video recording but also a fairly wide set of additional features. Here we have a front camera with 2K recording, a rear camera, a screen, smartphone connectivity, a convenient app, voice functions, ADAS, and the possibility of parking monitoring when connected properly through the hardware kit. The front camera in this model records in 2560 by 1440 at 30 frames per second, and the rear one in 1920 by 1080, and the manufacturer itself places special emphasis on Night VIS 2.0 with AI processing to improve night shooting. If we look specifically at the basic tasks, meaning everyday trip recording, then the dashcam handles that well. And here I especially want to say a few words about video quality. During the day, the picture from the front camera is genuinely good, clear, and detailed enough that it does not feel like some really basic budget solution. At night, it also looks quite decent, especially considering the class of the device. Yes, you should not expect miracles here. This is not a premium flagship, but in the dark the picture remains usable and understandable. The rear camera is of course a little simpler in image quality, and that is expected, but as an addition for recording what happens behind the car, it is quite useful. I also like that the manufacturer thought through the installation, the package contents, and the overall logic of how the device works. It does not feel like a raw or unfinished product. The menu is understandable. It can be controlled both with buttons and through the app, and I would definitely count the screen as a plus, because you do not always want to take out your smartphone for every little action. And the app here really is not just for show, but a useful addition to the dash cam itself. Of course, there are also some nuances. To unlock the full potential of the parking mode, it is best to connect it specifically through the hardware kit. Plus, with the rear camera a lot also depends on the specific vehicle, on how convenient it is to route the cable, and on how tinted your rear glass is. But these are more installation details than a drawback of the dash cam itself. And to put it very simply, the DDPAI N2 Dual left me with the impression of a solid, modern, and genuinely convenient dash cam for everyday use. Not just a camera that records something, but a device that is actually pleasant to use. And most importantly, it really does provide good recording quality both during the day and at night, and for a dash cam that is still the key point. So if you are currently looking for a dash cam with a front and rear camera, good daytime and nighttime recording, a screen, and a smartphone app, then this model is definitely worth considering. Especially if you want to install it once, connect it neatly, and then simply use it, knowing that when the needed moment comes, the recording will already be saved. All links to the products from this review are in the description under the video. There you will also find a link to my Telegram channel, where new gadgets, discounts, useful tips, and live communication are waiting for you. There is also a forum about smart home systems, and now everything is sorted into sections, so finding the right topic has become much easier. Do not forget about our Facebook group and our page on X, formerly Twitter, where I publish fresh news and selections. If the video was useful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel and press the bell so you do not miss new reviews. Thank you for watching, peaceful skies and kindness to you all. Bye bye.